Homeworlds, the greatest two-player abstract game you've probably never played. So, let me show you how it plays, and then I'll tell you why I don't think that statement is hyperbole. I'm Chris Steele, and this is Tabletop Game Talk, a show where we talk about tabletop games and gaming topics of all kinds. Today, we're going to talk about Homeworlds. Homeworlds, well, this is one box I have. This has been opened. This is another one I have that is still in the shrink. I have this here, which is my travel version of the game. And all of those come in this game here, too. Lighting and green screens are cool. So, why do I own this game 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which you haven't seen yet, times? Because it's awesome. It's just so good. But let me just jump right to a little bit of the history of this game. This is a game by Looney Labs. It is included in the Pyramid Arcade box. That's this one here. And this box is $77, and it includes 22 games, and you can download a bunch of other game rules. It is a box of components. So if I open up this box here, I can basically, you can see there's some boards, some instruction books, but ultimately, there's a whole bunch of pyramids. Lots of pyramids in Pyramid Arcade, and a few components. We're going to talk about 4 colors of these pyramids: blue, yellow, green, and red. And we're going to talk about one game in this box. Until about, I'd say sometime last year, Looney Labs ran a Kickstarter that took some of the games from this box and put them into their own individual boxes. That's what these ones are here. And until that happened, Homeworlds was not a game I could necessarily recommend to anybody, because to spend $77 for this game was probably more than most people were willing to do. This is only $20. And even though it's still a small box, it is absolutely worth $20. I will do an unboxing of that in just a moment. But I've been wanting to do this video for so very long. I've actually recorded this video probably 3 times over the last 5 years. And I've never released it because, again, up until the time that this box came out, it was still one of those things that's like, hey, look at this little niche game that you can play. And it's the most complicated game in the Pyramid Arcade box. That box contains a lot of like very easy, approachable, casual games. It doesn't scratch the surface of what this game can do. So I've been beating around the bush for long enough. Let's switch to what Pyramid Arcade looks like on a playmat. And again, the playmat you're about to look at is a playmat that I created myself because I wanted a playmat for this game. So this is that. We can see we have red, yellow, green, and blue pyramids, and we have 2 little base stations here. Ignore those for a moment. Let's just take a quick look at what's inside of the Homeworlds box. The lid, you have instructions. Now, the instructions for such a small game are actually not small. This has 31 pages of instructions here. This is probably Andy Looney, great guy. He did not design this game. It was a friend of his that designed this game. He designed most of the other Pyramid games, though. And Flux and just a bunch of other, basically everything Looney Labs does. Andrew Looney describes it. This is one of his, I think he says this is his favorite game. And he's so passionate about it. When you read this rule book, it really shows. The problem with teaching this game, and he actually shows on here, complexity, 4 little pips out of 4. This game is not complex. But when you try to teach it with strategy, it can be. It's like teaching chess and then teaching all of the opening moves and counter moves and all of that while you're teaching the game. That's not how you learn this game. There are 5 things you can do, and that's it. And everything else just stems from that, which is why the game is so great. Now, this book is great. It does have a history in it. It has lots of examples. This page here, though, you look at this and you're like, yeah, no. Setting that aside, I'm not going to let you read the rule book because I'm going to teach you how to play this game. We have a turn token. I'll actually put this out just for the sake of just having it on the board. This is just a little pamphlet for buying more pyramid games, including the 4 that have been released into their own sets. Each one of these is $20. Martian Chess, I would also say, is a pretty good game. But Homeworlds is the game in here. Ice Duo, or Ice Dice and Twin Win are 2 of the, I think, original pyramid games, and that's why these have their own things. And Nomad is the most original, most current of the new games that have been released. But this actually does also show what the pyramid system consists of, and which is a small, medium, and large size pyramids. And you can get them in trios, which is 1 of each size. You can nest them inside of each other, and you can stack them inside of each other. These are just kind of words that are used to describe a lot of the different types of games that you can play with it. We won't worry about any of this because we're only going to learn 1 pyramid game. You might want to learn a bunch more after that. This is the bank board. This is the equivalent of my board here. And they stack up here. The order does not matter. This is the order I picked. This is the order this game picked. And then you have a bunch of pyramids. I already have the pyramid set up out here. Again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies of this game on my table right now. I regret nothing. This game is amazing. And one of these days, I'm going to run a Homeworlds tournament at a convention, and now you'll know how to play. So, again, each one of these comes in 3 pieces, or, well, 3 sizes. So this here would be considered a trio. We have our small with the single pip on it. We have our medium with the 2 pips on it, and then the large with the 3 pips on it. And then we have our 4 different colors. There's a lot of pyramid colors. These are just happen to be the 4 we need for Homeworlds. And that's it. That's the unboxing. Now I'm just going to put this away because I've already unboxed. Homeworlds is a game where you're going to be going back and forth. And typically, the game does not require a board. This is sort of a board, but really it's just a black field. You'll see these 2 white lines here that do have some representation of what things exist on the game. And then we have 2 different areas here that designate home systems. It is a head-to-head, full information, abstract dueling game in the vein of something like a chess or a checkers or Go or any of those games where all the information's on the board and it's just up to the players to do what they're going to do, and that's what you react to. We have 2 home systems. These are our home worlds. And we have ships. Anything that's laying down is a ship. Anything that's standing up is a star. And if it's pointing away from me, it's my ship. If it's pointing towards me, it's my opponent's ship. Typically, we use traffic rules. So if my ships are always on the right, your ships are always on your right. So they're always coming at me. If you're in the UK, reverse them. So it's just an easier way to make sense of things. A star system is usually made up of 1 upright pyramid, but your home system's special. It has 2. The object of the game is to take all the ships out of your opponent's systems or destroy their star. And we'll talk about how you do that next. Each color is a particular ability that your ships are going to have. So blue allows you to change color, green allows you to build new ships, yellow allows you to move, and red allows you to capture. That's basically all there is to it. Each one of these abilities has a certain nuance to it. But what's important to remember is a system is a star and a ship, or more. There could be many ships at this system. It could be my ships, your ships, it could be both sides. So if there's another ship here, actually, this would be a situation where there's 2 of your ships at my star and 1 of mine. So we'll get into movement in a moment. Just know that we have star systems. The abilities that are available to your ship are based on the star color and your ship colors. So in this particular situation, I have a blue star, a yellow star, and a green ship. So I have access to all 3 of those abilities any ship in my system, in this system, can use that as long as I control it. If we, again, have the counterexample here, your ship would have access to blue, yellow, and again, yellow. You would not have access to the green power because the green ship is mine. So that's how we determine whether or not we have access to these different powers. On your first turn, you're almost always going to do the same thing. In fact, you will always do the same thing, and that is use the power of green. Power of green is building. It's building new ships. So in my system here, I have a green ship, which gives me the power of green, and now I need to activate a ship. I should say on your turn, there's two different actions you can do. You can activate or you can sacrifice, but you're always going to choose one of your ships, and you're going to choose to activate it or you're going to choose to sacrifice it. We're going to cover all the activations first, and then we'll talk about sacrifice. I'm going to activate the green ship. Now, I'm going to use the green power. Just because the ship is green doesn't mean anything. As long as I have access to green, I can still do this. And when the green ship uses a green power, I can go to the bank and I can take the smallest green pyramid and place it here. I've built a new ship. It is now my opponent's turn. I'm going to forget to do this back and forth, but this is a learning game, so that's fine. Here, and I'm going to say you're my opponent, you have a yellow ship, and you have a green star and a red star. And so this ship has the ability to use green, which is grow. But since this ship is using it, it has to grow. Well, I'm going to use grow and build interchangeably because I think build is the new term, grow is the old term. But anyway, the yellow ship can use green to build a new yellow ship. So that's how that goes. Now I can come back here and I could build again if I wanted to, or I could use one of my other powers. And in this case, I'm going to use one of my other powers. I'm going to use blue. Blue is the power to change colors. So when we're building with green, we're looking at a color and we're taking the smallest one. When we're changing with blue, we're looking at the size of the ship and we can change to any other color of the same size. So we have a yellow, we have a blue, we have a green. We don't have a red ship here, so let's go ahead and change our green into red. So my small green ship used the power of blue, because it's granted in the system, to make a red ship. Great, no problem. Over here, we don't have blue, so we can't change anything. We can still build. We can capture, which we're not to yet, but yellow is the power to move. And this is the most complicated of all of the abilities. And this is where we're going to start talking about these homeworlds in a moment, because I did skip the setup step. You're going to build this binary homeworld system here, but jumping into that too early isn't helpful. So if you notice, for me, I have a small yellow and a medium-sized blue. All right. And for you, you have a medium green and a large red. Awesome. The only thing that you can't do when you're building your homeworld system is create a system that is, and the only thing you shouldn't do is create a system that uses the same pyramids as your opponent. Also, you should have two different sizes. This creates the most interesting of games. There are possibilities of, you can do other things. We'll cover that at the end of the video. But for now, just to know that I have two different size pyramids, you have two different size pyramids, and they're not the same different sizes. That's all that matters. Now, let's talk about movement. I want to move this small yellow ship. Well, yellow gives me the power of movement. Where can I move to? There's nothing out here. In Homeworlds, the board grows and shrinks as it needs to, on demand. So if I want to move this yellow ship, I simply say I'm going to move it. And I move it out, and then the star system I'm going to move it to will appear. Now, with some rule, with a rule, you cannot move from a star system to another star system that has the same size star in it. So here I have a medium and a large. I cannot move to a medium or large star because that would match the sizes here. So in this case, I must move to a small star. I can move to any color small star. Let's say I'm going to choose green. And now I've created this star out of nothing. Ta-da! We have a great star. My turn now. I can also move, because I have the power of yellow, and I'm going to move my red ship. I have a small and a medium, so I can only move to large star systems. So I am going to move to a yellow system. Now it's your turn. Now, you have multiple choices you can make. You could build another yellow ship using this power here. You could build another yellow ship using this power here. You still can't change colors, but the building you could do. You could, well, what you can't do is move this out of here, because as soon as you don't have a ship at your home system, you lose, and I win. So you never move that. You don't move your last ship out. But the other types you can build. So let's go ahead and build. Great. Now it's my turn. I can move the red ship, or I can build with my green ship. And we're going to do that. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to move my yellow ship, or my red ship, to here using the power of the yellow star. I can do that because this is a large star, and that's a medium star. If I was trying to move to a large star, I couldn't do that. But I could move to a medium star like this if I wanted to. Now, you will notice I have these two lines here. Typically what ends up happening in your games are, if you have a small and a medium here, you're going to have large stars in front of you. Your opponent's going to have their off color in front of you. And this middle one is very rarely used, but it is possible to do. You can move to any medium or small from a large. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to move here. As soon as there's nobody at the star system, it goes away, back to the bank. Now it's your turn. Now you've noticed I've just moved in a red ship. Red's power is capture. I'm going to show that in a moment, but you don't want to be captured. So you only have one move, so you're going to move away from me. And what you're going to do is you're going to move to a large blue, because now you can change colors if you want to. Meanwhile, it's now my turn, and I'm now going to use the red power, the power of capture. And the way the red power works is if I'm at a star system with one of your ships, and I trigger a red ship, I can capture any ship that's equal to or smaller than this one. And that just goes like this. It is now my ship. Yay me. I win. Well, I don't win yet, but I got an extra ship. That's what the power of red is. We have now covered all the things you can do. Green allows you to build another ship, and you just activate your ship and you build the smallest one out of the bank. Blue allows you to change the color of your ship, and you just choose a ship, and then you can change the same size to anyone in the bank. Yellow allows you to move your ship, and you can move to any star that you just created as you need to that is not the same size of the star that you came from. And red allows you to capture a ship that's smaller than yours. That's it. That's all there is to it. So I said that there were two different actions you could take. The first one was to activate your ships to use one of those powers. The other action is to sacrifice. And what we're going to do is I'm going to just quickly build this up a little bit. We're going to pretend that these things happened here. We got this here. And we'll put another one over here. Okay, so somehow this happened. You want to, actually we're going to move this one to here. So you want to be able to move this ship here, but there's no power of yellow here. So what you can do is you can take a yellow ship, any one of these ships, and you can sacrifice it. Now, if I sacrifice a small yellow ship, this gives me the ability to activate one other ship, because it's one pip, one other ship of mine, and move it. If I sacrifice the 2 yellow, I can move 2 times. It can be 2 different ships, or it can be the same ship twice. And obviously the largest moves me 3. All the different powers do this. If I sacrifice a green ship, I can build back here. I could, here, this has the power to grow, so I could just grow this here. And back here is the same thing. But for example, now let's say that I put that one there, and I had another ship here. This can't grow. But if I sacrifice this, green, then I can activate this ship to build because I sacrificed a green to do it. So that's what sacrifice does. Sacrifice allows you to take 1 to 3 actions of the same color with any ships you control. But you are putting a ship back into the bank when you do that. One other thing you can do, and that's call a catastrophe. And you can do this at any time during your turn. If there are, and we're going to put this one back here for this example, if there are 4 or more pyramids, your ships, my ships, or a star, of the same color in a system, either person on their turn, at beginning, middle, end of their turn, can call a catastrophe. And then all of the pyramids of that color go back into the bank. This is how you actually destroy stars and ships, and this is the only way to get them back off the board. So back to this example here. You really want to move this ship in here. But you can't because you don't have the power of movement here. But you can sacrifice this that allows you to move one ship for one move action, and then you can move here. We've gone from a large to a medium small, and now there are 4 ships here. At this point, you call catastrophe, and all of these green pyramids get removed. And because there are no ships at this star system's removed, and you win. That's all. That's all there is to it. Now, this was a relatively simple example, but it's pretty easy to get into a situation where maybe you are like this, and I come in here. So now here's a system where it's now your turn. You don't have the power to grow here, but there are 3 yellow pyramids here. You really want to be able to grow this. Well, you have a grow. You have 2 that you could sacrifice. So you sacrifice this, and you can grow. Remember, it's the smallest pyramid. And now you can call a catastrophe, which destroys all of the yellows. And you still have one more grow action, one more build action that you can take. So maybe you build another red one here. My homeworld system now only contains 1 star system. I am now connected to a lot more things. I'm connected to this large one. I'm not connected to this small one, but I am connected directly to your star system because you have a large and a medium, and this is a small. So you can see how getting rid of certain pyramids will kind of change the landscape of the board. So that's basically, I'm going to go back to just how you set the game up when you first start out, and then we will talk about some strategy, which, again, you shouldn't teach strategy before you play the game, but there's a few things that are useful to know just so you know how to think about the game. So this initial setup of the game is actually this. This is how the game starts out. Someone's a first player. They're going to choose, I want this one and that one. And then you're going to choose, well, okay. And again, the only thing you the only thing you shouldn't do is choose a small and a medium. But you're going to choose a medium and a large, and you're going to do this. Other piece of strategy. Your initial system, it doesn't have to, but it should always contain a green power. If not, then the first thing you need to do is switch over to green. But imagine that you decide to go 2 yellows and a red here. You can't do anything. You can move, but your system would immediately disappear. You could capture, but there's nothing to capture. So there's nothing you can do. So this is an invalid setup. So you want to make sure there's always at least 1 green so that you can build. First point of strategy. Green in your opening system. Second point of strategy is you're always going to grow as your first action. In fact, when we play, we actually set up like this. So we pick a large ship and a small ship. Actually, the second point, this is the third point of strategy. The second point is always having a large ship. That large ship is not a mistake. It's not an accident. It's always a large ship, because if you don't have a large ship here, it's very, very easy to lose control of your system. This is always going to be a large ship. Then you're going to build as your first action. Fourth point of strategy, never not have a large ship in your home system. Never being that's a hyperbole, but there are times where you may want to sacrifice this or move it if you know you're about to win, but not having this ship as a defensive piece in your system will likely lose you the game at some point. So just keep that in mind. Another point of strategy, and I'm going to stop numbering them, is this here is where your pyramids come from, but it is also an active part of the strategy of this game. So, for example, I mentioned that you could build things, just by saying build, and then we're going to change color here, and then we will move, and then we're going to build. All right, so here's an example of something we've just done that arbitrary. I didn't do any actions on my side, obviously. Right now, I can build, and when I build, I'm going to build a medium ship because it's the next biggest thing here. On my side, I don't have anything that I can't build green because I really want to, but I can't. So I'm actually going to just kind of move out. And here's the thing. I could take green and put this here. And now I could build red ships at this system. But the next time you want to build, you could build here, and now you're taking large ships. So when you take that last piece there really matters, because what I take is I'm basically giving you the opportunity to build these things. Another thing, imagine a situation where I don't have any blue here, and you decide, okay, I'm going to take all of this. Well, at this point, blue's a terrible example for this. Imagine I don't have any green, but I do have a blue. We're going to do this instead. And I really want a green here. Well, I can't change. I can't use the power of blue on this ship here to get a green because there are no small greens. I could get a yellow, but I couldn't get a blue because there are no small blues. So when you're using that blue power, you have to be conscious of what is available here. And you can get stuck sometimes if you, I really need to change colors, but I can't. Now, I would be able to change my red, and I could do this. So that's something I could do, and something you want to pay attention to. There are actual strategies like having the smalls, having a medium large star here allows you to take smalls very frequently, because you can just, every time you move a ship out, take another small, which allows you to choke out the smalls pretty quickly, so I can't switch into them. But on the other side of it, it's revealing these mediums that I might be able to build into. So those are other things to be aware of. There are more advanced-ish strategies. Imagine we're in a situation like this, where I want to be able to build here. I can already build here because I can just use this power of green. But I could also do this. I can sacrifice my green ship, which immediately goes into the bank. I can then build here a green ship. And I still have 2 more builds, which can be another one of these. And I still have 1 more build, which now I can build this. So by sacrificing, sometimes you're able to get more things. Now, at this point, what my opponent might do is sacrifice yellow to move 3 movements. And we'll just go 1, 2. And this goes away. But now they call catastrophe here. Boom, blows everything up, and then they can do 1 more movement here. Now, on my turn, I would just use the power of red to capture that. So it's not the greatest move as the final part, but you can see how that interaction between Sacrificing get multiple moves can put you in a winning situation. Also, keep in mind, just because let's do this one. Just because my system's directly connected to yours, and you've come in here and you've destroyed my system, you might have given me an opportunity to come in and destroy yours. In this case, let's just say we had a large yellow here, and we'll put a green and a green here. So what we have now is I could sacrifice this yellow and move 1, 2, and blow up all your greens, and then 3, so we blow up all the greens, and then 3 now has 2 blues at this system. Now you can use the power of red to take blue over, but then I could potentially, well, in this particular setup, couldn't do anything, but imagine that I had another blue in here someplace where I now move in and destroy everything. So that's how the game is going to end, is you're basically going to make a run for the home system and try to destroy all their ships before they can destroy yours. All right, that is Homeworlds. Maybe 10 minutes to explain the rules in a very slow way, another 10 minutes to give you some strategy, and now we are on to the review portion of the game. Why do I like this game so much? There are a number of reasons. The first one is I think the pyramids look amazing. This is an abstract game, but you can imagine the ships flying around and, you know, as they're standing up and, you know, attacking one way or the other. Like, it's really cool just to see this game. It's a pretty game. 2, it's the easiest thing to pull around, to carry around. There's nothing in here except for my pyramids. That's it. I can put a first player token in there if I'd like. And then this is the perfect restaurant game. When my wife and I go out, we bring this with us pretty much everywhere we go. And we can set this up on any table, which is the third reason why I think this is amazing. This is a completely waterproof game. You can play this in any restaurant, anywhere. And it doesn't matter where the food plates are. It doesn't matter where anything is, because the board is all, it can be anywhere you want. And one of the we don't do it as much anymore because we have 2 kids now, so we don't go as much out anymore. And plus, there's been a pandemic for the last year and a half. But before all of that happened, we would bring this game to restaurants, and everybody, there was never a restaurant where somebody didn't come over and ask, "What are you doing?" Because what is that game? What are you playing? And I would always say, "Oh, it's called Homeworlds. It's kind of like space chess." But it is just a fascinating thing on the table, because if you look at somebody, 2 people playing this game, it doesn't look like they're doing anything meaningful. It looks like they're just moving pieces, like they're pretending. Cones of Dunshire, I get a lot of comparisons to that. It looks like nonsense, but it isn't. It's a very strategic game. Again, very simple. 4 powers, 2 things you can do on your turn: sacrifice or activate a ship, and then you can call it catastrophe whenever you need to. And that's it. That's the whole game. And out of that comes such interesting ways and interactions and setups. And sometimes we'll play this game and we'll play it competitively and we're not helping each other out. Other times we will challenge every move we make, right? It's like, oh, why did you make that move? Because now I can do this and now I can do that. And to try to get ourselves better at this game. Like, there's no real limits to the skill cap that you can pick up here. Now, you'll eventually kind of pick certain combinations of stars and ships that you like the best. But if you want a variable game, mix it up. Use different colors. Totally fine. I mentioned that the home system should be they should always contain 2 sizes and different sizes. The reason for that is because of the movement rules. If we have the exact same sizes here, so if I have a medium and a large, I'm only 1 jump away from my opponent. So I can simply go boom, boom, as opposed to 2 jumps away, which makes a huge difference. This is what's considered a small galaxy setup, and it's not very entertaining. It's not very fun. But sometimes if you want a sudden death game, this works out just fine. I also mentioned that having 2 of the same size is basically, I would say, discouraged, frowned upon, not frowned upon, but discouraged, because now these 2 ships are directly connected to each other. There's barely a game there at that point, right? It's just build up, and whoever went first is likely going to win in that particular situation. Although there is not a really strong first-person advantage, because even though you get the first move, your opponent gets to react to your system when they build their system. So they know what your setup is before they build their setup. So there's a nice balance to that setup as well. But there's just so many things you can do. I say it fits in a small can. You can get these. I think this is a 4-inch tin. You can get at the Container Store. These stickers, I think you can still get these from Looney Labs website directly. And this box is $20. This is my box and shrink. I keep them around to give out as gifts. And that's it. That's Homeworlds. This is, yeah, longer than necessary to explain it. Maybe I'll try to do another video where I do it in 8 minutes. Probably not. I'm just going to let this one live. So anyway, I'm Chris Steele. This has been Tabletop Game Talk, and this has been Homeworlds.